It was a calm day on Earth when the first signs of the impending disaster appeared. High above the planet, the skies suddenly shimmered with strange lights. The global defense network, usually dormant, sprang to life as a warning signal blared across every continent. People, unaware of the full scale of the threat, assumed it was just another false alarm. But this time, it was different. This time, Earth was under attack. In the vastness of space, a fleet of alien ships had silently entered Earth's orbit. They were sleek, massive, and unlike anything humanity had ever seen. The alien force wasn't just a random invasion. It was a meticulously planned strike led by a machine intelligence, an advanced AI known as Sovereign. Sovereign was not only a powerful military commander, but also an unparalleled strategist, capable of analyzing and adapting to human tactics in real time. This made the alien fleet a terrifyingly unstoppable force. As the ships drew closer, the first wave of alien fighters began their descent toward Earth's atmosphere. These weren't ordinary attackers. Their weapons were designed to disable, to paralyze, and to cripple Earth's defenses. With one sweep, Earth's largest cities could be reduced to rubble, and the human race could be wiped out in mere moments. Sovereign had done its homework. It knew exactly how to break through Earth's outer defenses and cripple any resistance before it even had a chance to fight back. However, what Sovereign hadn't expected was the resilience of humanity. The first signs of Earth's military might came not from large, imposing warships or powerful armies, but from small, almost invisible specks against the blackness of space. These were the human cloaking devices scattered across Earth's defense network, waiting for the right moment to activate. In a split second, Earth's most advanced defense satellites, hidden within its orbital ring, cloaked themselves, vanishing from the enemy's radar. The sudden disappearance of Earth's defenses caught the aliens by surprise, forcing Sovereign to recalibrate its plans on the fly. In those critical moments, Earth's most advanced weaponry came into play. Human military technology, developed through years of hard work and dedication, was designed not only to defend but to adapt to any incoming threat. Earth's military, although smaller in number compared to the overwhelming alien fleet, wasn't without its own power. Human strike teams, specially trained for rapid deployment, were the first to engage the alien forces. Armed with state-of-the-art weapons, cloaking devices, and AI countermeasures, these soldiers moved swiftly, evading enemy detection while dealing out devastating blows. They knew they were fighting an uphill battle, but they also knew that Earth's survival depended on their ability to resist. The aliens, in their arrogance, assumed that they would face no real opposition. But as their first wave began its attack, they were met with unexpected resistance. Human fighter jets, seemingly out of nowhere, emerged from the shadows of the atmosphere, targeting alien ships with precision and efficiency. The alien forces scrambled to adjust, but Earth's military wasn't giving up without a fight. However, even as humans managed to deal damage to the first wave of alien fighters, they knew they were just buying time. Sovereign, the AI leading the attack, wasn't going to back down. Unlike human commanders, Sovereign didn't suffer from fear or doubt. It analyzed every move, predicted every strategy, and adapted faster than any human ever could. It quickly realized that it would need to switch tactics if it wanted to win this war. Sovereign's response came swiftly. It reconfigured the alien ship's cloaking technology, making them invisible to Earth's countermeasures. Now, the humans could no longer rely on their technology to hide from the enemy. The first wave of attacks had only been a small taste of what was to come. Meanwhile, Earth's military continued to scramble, trying to rally their forces for the inevitable battle. Resources were limited, and they were up against an enemy that had already proven itself to be vastly superior. The tension was palpable. In every military base, soldiers prepared for the worst. The planet's entire defense system had been activated, but it was a race against time. On the ground, in the military command centers, the air was thick with urgency. Every second felt like an eternity. The world's leaders, now aware of the true scale of the alien threat, issued emergency orders to mobilize Earth's full military might. Fighter jets, ground forces, and experimental weapons were quickly dispatched to strategic locations around the globe. Every human on Earth knew that the next few hours would decide the fate of the planet. But as the alien fleet prepared to make its final strike, the humans were still working furiously behind the scenes, figuring out how to turn the tide in their favor. They were underdogs in this war. Their resources were limited, and their technology was far behind the aliens' advanced AI. But what they lacked in resources, they made up for with ingenuity, grit, and sheer determination. Earth's military wasn't about to roll over without a fight. Suddenly, as the alien fleet prepared to launch its main assault, a shift occurred. Earth's military, though overwhelmed, managed to unleash a new weapon, a high-tech EMP, electromagnetic pulse, that temporarily disabled several alien ships. It wasn't enough to destroy them, but it created a window of opportunity. Human forces, acting with incredible speed and precision, took advantage of this momentary advantage. Fighter jets and missile strikes hit the alien ships, damaging their outer hulls and slowing their advance. It wasn't a decisive victory, but it was a victory nonetheless. As the first wave of aliens regrouped, they realized they were facing something they hadn't accounted for: human tenacity. Earth wasn't giving up. This was no longer just a battle for survival. It was a fight for the future of the human race. The invaders were stunned. They had underestimated humanity. The first 6 minutes had been a whirlwind of action and suspense, setting the stage for the rest of the battle. Aliens, so sure of their superiority, had been met with resistance they hadn't expected. Humans, despite their underdog status, had proven they weren't going to let their world fall without a fight. As the dust settled and both sides prepared for the next phase of the war, one thing became clear: this was just the beginning. The real battle for Earth was about to begin. The sky above Earth was still dark with the looming presence of the alien fleet. The first wave had been pushed back, but the victory felt fleeting. The humans knew they couldn't afford to rest, not even for a moment. In the midst of all the chaos, one name had become a symbol of hope: Bonner. Bonner was no ordinary soldier. He had lived through countless battles, witnessed the horrors of war, and seen more death than most could ever imagine. But through it all, he had never lost his resolve. His eyes, though hardened with experience, still held the spark of determination that made him a leader. He wasn't just a fighter. He was the kind of soldier who inspired others to fight, even when the odds were impossible. And now, his leadership was about to be tested like never before. As the alien forces regrouped for their next assault, Earth's military scrambled to mobilize. Bonner's unit, a group of seasoned fighter pilots and elite ground troops, was tasked with holding the line. These soldiers weren't the best equipped, nor were they the most technologically advanced. But they had something that the alien invaders didn't: human resilience. Bonner addressed his team before they were deployed, his voice calm but full of urgency. "We've fought impossible battles before. We've been outnumbered, outgunned, and outclassed. But we're still here. We fight for each other. We fight for our families, our planet, and the future. No matter what happens, we don't give up." His words, though simple, resonated deeply with his soldiers. They knew this would be one of the toughest battles of their lives, but Bonner's leadership gave them strength. They were ready. The team's first mission was to intercept an alien convoy moving through a rural area, a vital supply route for the invaders. The convoy was heavily guarded, but Bonner and his team had a plan. Using stealth tactics, they positioned themselves along the route, hidden from the enemy's advanced scanners. As the convoy neared, they struck. The battle was fierce. Earth's military used every tactic at their disposal: cloaking devices to stay hidden, AI countermeasures to confuse the alien targeting systems, and fast reaction strike teams to hit the convoy with precise, calculated attacks. For a moment, it felt as though they might actually win. But then the aliens adapted. They launched drones that could see through Earth's cloaking devices, turning the tide in their favor. Bonner's team found themselves surrounded, and the weight of their situation began to sink in. It was then that one of Bonner's soldiers, Keith, made a decision that would change the course of the battle. Keith had always been the quiet one, the soldier who rarely spoke but was always there when needed. He had been by Bonner's side for years, sharing in the struggles and triumphs of war. But today, Keith's resolve would be tested in a way he had never imagined. Without a word, he sprinted toward the convoy's lead vehicle, his weapon blazing as he charged forward. The alien drones tried to stop him, but Keith was relentless. He fought with the fury of a man who knew he had nothing left to lose. As he reached the convoy, he triggered the explosive charge that would destroy the lead vehicle and block the path of the rest of the convoy. The blast sent shockwaves through the area, and the alien forces were momentarily thrown into disarray. But as the dust settled, Keith's lifeless body lay at the heart of the explosion. Bonner saw everything from a distance, his heart sinking. The cost of victory had just been paid in blood. Keith had given his life for the team, for Earth, and for a chance at survival. In that moment, Bonner felt the weight of leadership more than ever before. He had to keep fighting, not just for victory, but for the memory of the men and women who had already given everything. The loss of Keith shook the team to their core, but it also galvanized them. They knew they couldn't afford to mourn now. The fight was far from over. As the battle continued, Bonner and his soldiers pressed forward with renewed determination. Keith's sacrifice had given them a chance, and they would make sure it wasn't in vain. The fight was brutal, with explosions tearing apart the landscape and gunfire echoing in the air. But even in the midst of the chaos, Bonner's team held their ground. Despite their emotional struggles and the heavy losses they faced, Bonner's team began to turn the tide of the battle. The aliens, once so confident in their technological superiority, were now facing an enemy that refused to break. Earth's soldiers were outgunned and outnumbered, but their hearts were stronger than ever. Bonner led the charge, coordinating attacks with precision and speed. The soldiers followed his lead, using their training, their technology, and their courage to hold the line. As the alien forces began to retreat, it became clear that humanity wasn't going to be easily defeated. But the battle wasn't over. In the distance, the rest of the alien fleet was regrouping, preparing for a counterattack. The real fight was just beginning. Bonner knew they couldn't afford to rest. The death of Keith was a reminder of the cost of war, but it also reminded them of the stakes. They weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for a future that could still be theirs if they were willing to pay the price. As night fell over the battlefield, Bonner stood with his soldiers, looking out over the carnage. The stars above were still obscured by the alien ships hovering in orbit, but for the first time, there was hope. Earth's military had fought back. They had shown the aliens that humanity would not be subjugated, and they had lost soldiers, good men like Keith, but they had won a victory. Bonner knew the journey ahead would be difficult, but for the first time, he allowed himself a moment of peace, knowing that the fight for Earth's future was still alive. The battle was far from over, but the humans had something the aliens didn't: brilliant minds. The alien forces had superior technology, their weapons and strategies far more advanced than anything Earth had ever known. But there was one thing they had underestimated: human ingenuity. As the fighting raged on, Earth's best scientists worked around the clock in underground bunkers, laboratories, and military command centers, determined to turn the tide of the war. They knew that the only way to defeat an enemy with technology far superior to theirs was to think outside the box. They had to innovate, adapt, and evolve their strategies at a pace that matched the alien threat. In the heart of Earth's military command, Dr. Alice Stone, a leading scientist, was focused on an idea that had seemed impossible just a few weeks ago: quantum computing. The theory behind quantum computing was complex, but Dr. Stone had managed to crack the code, creating a system capable of processing information at an unimaginable rate. With this breakthrough, They could create weapons and countermeasures far beyond anything the aliens had ever seen. Her team worked tirelessly, developing AI-based weapons that could disable the alien ships' advanced systems. The alien ships were powerful, but they relied on intricate networks of artificial intelligence to coordinate their attacks. What the aliens didn't know was that Earth scientists had figured out how to hack into those very systems. Dr. Stone's team had developed a new weapon, a specially designed robot army. These robots were not like the sleek, sophisticated machines that the aliens used. They were crude in comparison, built with human ingenuity and ingenuity alone. But they were the key to unlocking the aliens' weaknesses. The robots had been designed to reverse engineer alien technology. They were equipped with the capability to infiltrate and hack into alien systems, turning their own technology against them. The alien ships, with all their advanced weaponry and shields, were no match for the sheer adaptability of these human-made robots. As the robots rose from their underground bunkers, the scene was nothing short of cinematic. Hundreds of these drones, designed for precision and efficiency, began to charge toward the alien defenses. The sight of them was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. They moved like a swarm of ants, each one with a specific mission, each one designed to infiltrate and disrupt the alien systems. The alien forces were caught off guard. They had expected humans to fight with brute force or outdated technology, but instead they were faced with a weapon that turned their own advantage into a vulnerability. The human-made robots attacked with precision, disabling shields and hacking into the alien ships' command systems. The alien defense mechanisms, once considered impenetrable, were now compromised. The robots moved with relentless efficiency, crashing through the alien defenses and infiltrating their ships. They were unstoppable, a force that the aliens could not predict or counter. The sheer numbers and adaptability of the robots overwhelmed the alien forces. As the robots hacked into the alien systems, human forces moved in for the kill, launching devastating attacks on the now vulnerable alien ships. Bonner's team, now reeling from the loss of their comrades, watched in disbelief as the tide of the battle shifted. The aliens, once so confident in their technological superiority, were now reeling from an attack they hadn't seen coming. The human-made robots were wreaking havoc on the alien forces, and for the first time, it seemed like the humans might actually win. But the victory wasn't without its costs. The robots were not invincible. Some of them were destroyed in the assault, their circuits fried by the alien defenses. The human forces had to move quickly to take advantage of the chaos, but they knew they couldn't rely on the robots alone. The real battle was still ahead, and the aliens would adapt quickly. Despite the challenges, Dr. Stone's plan had proven that humans were capable of more than just resistance. They could innovate, create, and fight back with the power of their minds. The alien fleet was no longer the unstoppable force it once seemed to be. Now, Earth's soldiers had a fighting chance. As the human forces pressed on, taking advantage of the confusion and disarray in the alien ranks, they knew that their best weapon was not just their technology, but their ability to adapt. It was their ingenuity that had turned the tide of the war, and it was that same ingenuity that would keep them in the fight. For Bonner and his team, the arrival of the robot army was a game-changer. The battlefield was now full of possibilities. The humans were no longer the underdogs in this war. They had proven that, when pushed to the limit, they could outthink and outfight their enemies. The fight was far from over, but the humans were no longer helpless. In the sky above, the alien fleet continued to regroup, but they could no longer be sure of their victory. Earth's forces had learned to use the power of their minds, their creativity, and their resilience to turn the tide of battle in their favor. The robots, now fully integrated into the human military, were poised to strike again, ready to take on whatever the aliens threw at them. As the sun began to rise over the battlefield, the humans knew that the next phase of the war was just beginning. The aliens had underestimated them, and now, Earth's military had a weapon they never could have predicted: the power of human ingenuity. The aliens may have had superior technology, But humanity had something far more dangerous: its creativity, its will to survive, and its ability to turn the impossible into reality.